Hello friends, Spacey Ghost back from the void, and here we're gonna be talking about The Punisher. So this is probably gonna be like really different than any of my content because a lot of my content is like, oh, happy times, positive gay feelings all around. What's Spacey doing talking about The Punisher? Well, I'm a huge fan of the Marvel franchise. I love all the comics. One of my favorite series altogether is Young Avengers, which I might talk about here, because it is very good and very gay. But like, I have a little story here. So about once a month, it's starting to become a pattern. Like, something new would come out on Netflix or something, and my friends back where I used to live, I'm not gonna say where, they'd be like, oh hey, come spend the weekend and we can like totally like binge, and it's kind of like a mini get-together party situation, and it's like lots of fun. A few weekends ago, I think it was, we got together and we started watching The Punisher. So far he's just been in a few, sometimes lackluster like movies. And he was in Netflix's Daredevil Season 2, which I haven't really seen, but I know like all the spoilers and I've seen clips. But from what I've seen, the Punisher was like fucking fantastic in that show. So like, fuck yeah, I'd want to see like the Punisher with his own series. We get to watch it. Like, there's me, I think 4 or 6 other people. I don't feel like doing the math right now. And some people came in the middle of us watching and joined us with the fun. It was not fun. Like, I don't know what the writers were thinking when they did this, because from what I remember, like, the Punisher in Daredevil Season 2 was, like, perfect. He's just a guy who comes in and, like, kills crime lords and shit, and it's all, like, really sadistic and bloody and brutal and sometimes even comedic in, like, a dark sense. All the people that are like, oh, I wish Batman would kill, like, you love Punisher, because that's what Punisher does. And he's got the sad, like, backstory with, oh, my whole family died, everyone I love died, so I must do this to avenge them. Like, we were expecting, like, 13 whole episodes of, like, brutal bloodbath. Okay, so the hallway scene in Daredevil, like season 1, where it's like all one shot, and he's like punching dudes left and right, like, and there's like no cuts. Like, there was more action in that scene than in this whole season of Punisher. Like, yes, there's violence in the first episode, but like, the first episode seems very like cliche to me, like these guys bullying this other guy and they're like so tough. But it's also kind of like freaky in a way because they don't know that the Punisher is the Punisher. They just think he's some dude that like fucks off to the ceiling, roof. I mean, it's supposed to be like that because I think he would get arrested if they caught and or knew who he was. And then literally from the first episode all the way to like the last 2 or 3, I think. That's 12 episodes. Or 11 episodes. Of nothing. Like, literally nothing. Like, they have characters, like, they have the steadfast FBI chick that's like, oh, we gotta figure out these conspiracies. You get Catherine, the reporter chick from Daredevil, like, she's in there too. And she's like, oh, I gotta help Punisher, but I can't help him too much because he's fucking killing dudes. Which, I mean, she's doing alright. I like her character, but she's only there for like a few seconds at a time. And there's like this dude, I don't know what's up with him. All it takes is this old dude to say like a few sentences to this younger guy, and the younger guy is like, well, gotta go blow up shit to prove that guns are bad, or something. And it's like, dude, instead of listening to the incredibly racist and really conservative guy who is like lying through his teeth, instead of listening to him, why don't you listen to the other like 10 or 20 people in that support group you're in? Okay, so all these characters, and I didn't describe all of them because I'm gonna talk about them a bit later, but all these characters, and it's just like talking and talking and talking. And other than a brief mention about the FBI chick's husband in the beginning of the series, you don't really get anything to like latch onto with her, with the FBI chick. So you're just watching her talk about these things, and it's like, I don't care. You're not giving me anything to care about. This is the fucking Punisher. I don't want to see the Punisher have a deep conversation about the morals of right and wrong and having to do with the random kid that's making bombs. 'Cause that's what you do when you get upset, you make bombs. No. I don't want to see talking in a Punisher thing. I want to see the Punisher punish things. That's the whole point of the character. If they were going for a slow burn, this is like the slowest burn. I wanted to set myself on fire. That's how slow this was. Just in the few flashbacks you get in like the first episode, you get that like, oh no, his family died. Oh, that's why he's doing this, because crime killed his family. I mean, not really crime, but you know, figuratively, crime killed his family. I mean, maybe some of the flashbacks, I say some of the flashbacks with the Punisher and Jigsaw, which I'm gonna talk about in a bit, like those could have been needed because you needed to know like, oh, he was into some dirty shit and now he doesn't wanna, and that's why his family died. And like, oh, Jigsaw isn't as clean as he looks. Other than that, like, we didn't need all this exposition explaining exactly why the Punisher is how he is. We figured that out. You gotta, like, trust the audience here. Like, yeah, maybe some people who don't read comics are gonna watch this. I say some, but it's probably gonna be a lot. But either way, like, that doesn't mean you have to, like, spoon feed them the alphabet or something for them to get what's going on. There's one thing I appreciate out of all this mess that we had to sit through is Jigsaw. First of all, points to you, Marvel, for irony, because of all people they casted for Jigsaw, they cast the dude who was in, what's the classic novel called? They cast the dude from The Picture of Dorian Gray, which, if you don't know, that whole story is about a guy who wants to live forever and be beautiful forever, and they cast him as Jigsaw. But you don't see him as Jigsaw until, like, the very end. So, this whole time, he's like this pretty boy. Which isn't me fanboying about how good he looks. His whole character is like, oh, look at how pretty I am. Oh, such clean shavenness. And you never see that in media nowadays. You never see a dude who's, like, not ashamed to take care of himself. And there's, like, no stupid-ass gay jokes, like, thrown in or anything. He just likes himself being put together, so to speak. And yes, there's lots of those puns where it's like, oh hey, dramatic irony. At the same time though, as handsome as he is, I did not need so many uncomfortable sex scenes. Like, that was the other thing that was in this show. Like, 80% of it was like sitting around and talking. 19% was fucking Jigsaw, literally fucking the FBI chick. Like, I don't care about the FBI chick. I don't need to see her getting it on. And it was really close and uncomfortable. And, like, we had to sit through it, like, 3 or 4 times in different positions, in different ways. We see Jigsaw's ass. I didn't want to see Jigsaw's ass. I didn't need to see any characters having sex. I don't need to see how the pieces fit together. Like, for real, if you haven't, spare yourself. It is terrible. It was the complete opposite of what I expected it. Obviously, it's gonna get a season 2, so hopefully in season 2, it's just gonna be blood and guts and gore and killing people for the sake of revenge. And Jigsaw as proper Jigsaw. I'm excited for it, but at the same time, I'm a little skeptical seeing how this first season was such a slow burn. And it's funny because when we were watching it as a group, Like, came down to like 2, 3 in the morning, and we were like on episode like 10 or so. It was either 10 or 11. And one of our friends like actually got up and was like, hey, this ain't worth it. I gotta work. My brain feels like it's been bleached. I gotta go. And then after the first friend left, the other friend who like lives at the place I was staying, he was like, you know, I could have just stopped this right when we first started thinking that things weren't gonna get better, and we could have just watched Spider-Man Homecoming, because at the time I hadn't watched it yet, and I think there was someone else who hadn't watched it yet. But still, he was just like, yeah, we could have prevented this, but no. We had to keep going down the rabbit hole and seeing how well this was gonna be, and it wasn't well. Like, if anything, if you feel like you like have to see it, I would watch maybe episode 1, maybe episode 2, and then like the last 3 episodes. Cause everything you can kinda figure out. You don't need to see Jigsaw naked. There were other characters that got naked too in this that no one wanted to see. And yes, before anyone yells at me in the comments, I know there's like some kind of action-y scene in the forest, but I don't count that because that was lame and you hardly saw anything. I mean, if you like BDSM for the eyes, yeah, go watch Punisher, but if not, just go do Warzone. I'll leave a little link in the description because, like, the trailer alone for Warzone is amazing. Let me know what you thought down below. Have you seen Punisher? What parts did you like or dislike or whatever? What do you think they could have done differently with this? Because I can think of so many things. But every time I try and think about it, my mind just keeps, like, blanking out because of how draining it was to sit through. Again, thank you, and I'll see you guys sometime in the future. Bye!